Today is 4/29/09. My name is Philip Davis. I'm going to take a recorded statement on behalf of Liberty Mutual Insurance Company regarding the workers' compensation claim of claim number WC 648-420-112. I am speaking to, would you state your name please?
Walter Ellis.
I am speaking to Walter Ellis. Mr. Ellis, are you aware that I am recording this conversation in regards to your claim filed at Schneider Trucking?
Yes, I'm aware that you're recording.
Are you represented by an attorney?
No, I'm not represented by an attorney.
Can you please tell me what transpired that led to your claim?
I was involved. I filed a DOT complaint against Schneider Trucking on the 11th or 12th of January. I posted the filing on my website.
Okay, let me back up 1 second. A DOT complaint. And what is a DOT complaint?
That's with the Department of Transportation regarding violations that the company were involved in regarding myself and other drivers.
Okay, thank you.
Where they were asking us to violate the hours of service rules in order to show that we were working more hours, working less hours than we were actually working. And some of it was involved in health and safety standards regarding the equipment that was filthy, and we were what we call slip seat drivers, where we would change trucks maybe once a week or sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And when we got the trucks, they were sometimes filthy, dirty, with cigarette smoke in them. I don't smoke. When I took the job, they said they would make all the efforts to give you a truck that someone hadn't smoked in. And what we were asking, I was asking, and many others asking, is just to clean the trucks and to detail them out so that the smell of the cigarette smoke wouldn't be as bad. Even though you never get all the smell out of it, it can be made more comfortable by cleaning. And they were asking us to clean the trucks on our own time. They would pay us $40 to clean them, but they wanted to do it before we started the clock, which is against DOT rules, because you're actually working and you're not charging the time that you're supposed to work. If we charge the time, say if it took us an hour or 2 hours to clean the truck, then we would only have 12 hours left in the day to drive and deliver the loads. And the loads were set up on the Walmart account. That's the account that we were working on, to where we had to it'd take a minimum of 14 hours to deliver the loads, to drive to the points where we had to drive, and to get back to the terminal, and to also fuel the truck and get it ready for either to fuel it, clean it out, get it ready for the next driver. So I've been protesting that since I had started with them, and they continued to tell me.
When did you first start working for Schneider? around the year?
The first time I started working for him was in 1998.
1998.
And during that time, I was protesting some of the way that they were treating the drivers, and I was trying to organize the drivers. I got injured by a highway patrol inspector in 1998, October 1998, and they, at that time, said that they would go ahead and instead of me filing charges against the highway patrol, SCHNEIDER told me that they would go ahead and handle it as a Workman Comp case, and that I didn't have to further file any more complaints against the highway patrol. This was on October the 7th of '98.
So this claim that you're talking about today relates back to the October 7th, 1998 claim?
Yeah, it's a follow through on the '98 claim. And at that time, on October 14th, they told me to bring the truck in, and I came in and met with the supervisors.
Okay. Who told you to bring the truck back in, and what supervisors did you meet with?
That was Craig Keaston. He was the supervisor at that time. And he and the terminal manager, I forget his name right off, I had it here somewhere, called me and told me that I was being terminated.
You said that was a terminal officer?
Yeah, terminal manager.
The terminal manager, but you're not aware of his name at this point?
Right.
You can't recall?
Right. I have his name in the papers that I'm gonna give you.
Thank you.
Their statement to me, and I think my wife was present at that time, was that
and state your wife's name for the record since you're
Ella
engineer.
Ellis.
Ella Ellis?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And they told me at that time that I was being terminated for violating company policy. And the company policy that they said that I was being terminated under was filing a complaint without filing the complaint with them first. And the complaint that they were talking about was a DOT complaint that I filed against a DOT officer, Highway Patrol. And part of that complaint was that I'd been injured by the DOT officer. And at that time, I had a same type of injury that I have today, a rib injury.
So you had a rib injury in 1998?
Right. For inspector for the Highway Patrol in Truckee, California, almost pulled me out of the truck, and in doing so, when she pulled the door open real harshly, it pulled me around in the seat of the truck, and my rib hit the steering wheel and cracked my rib.
Now this is the DOT officer?
Yeah, DOT inspector.
Inspector that worked for
the Highway Patrol.
Highway Patrol.
Right.
Okay.
And SCHNEIDER said I'd been given all the complaint papers, and I filed a tort claim against the Highway Patrol. They started the investigation. I filed the tort claim. I never heard anything.
Around what year did you file a tort claim?
In '99, about the January '99. No, no, it was in '98. Probably around November of '98.
Well, we're going to pause the tape for a second here. We have a gentleman who has just moved in the building. I believe he's a service person that's checking something, if you do hear him in the background. But now we will continue.
Okay.
About, your claim again, Mr. Ellis's claims. Do you want to take us, to the beginning and kind of let it flow again as far as exactly what happened A to Z?
You want me to go back to the...
Yeah, the very onset, and you gave us some background as far as what a DOT officer was and so forth, as far as your injuries now. How that all, ties in and relates.
Okay. Now, the injury that I received in '98 from the California Highway Patrol inspector led to my supervisor telling me, Craig, who was the dispatcher supervisor, stating that I only need to is that something he can do later?
Well, he's just checking his background.
Led to the supervisor stating that the company would take care of the injury, and that statement was made on the 8th of October, and
8th of October
of '98. And they gave me a Workman Comp claim number. And
who gave you the Workman's Comp claim number?
That was someone from the Workman Comp claim department in SCHNEIDER from Green Bay. At that time, I filed for the workman claim. They told me to bring the truck in on the 14th of October of '98. And at that time, they brought me into the office and told me that they would terminate me because I had violated the company rules, and that they had advised me in the past not to make any kind of complaints without first making a complaint to them.
Who had advised you?
Craig and the other supervisor and his supervisor. And one of the complaints that
One second. Craig's, do you have his last name? You recall his last name?
Craig Keaston.
Craig Keaston. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Sorry about the interruption.
Now, I had reported what I considered a discrimination complaint to Craig, and he said he was investigating. And this was regarding altercation that had taken place in near Portland, Oregon, at one of SCHNEIDER's terminals, where I felt that I had been discriminated against where we were having a class on brake and trailer inspections, and they were having hot dogs and hamburgers, and it was about 14 or 15 drivers sitting around the table. Most of them were from the terminal there in Oregon. I and another African American driver were the only two blacks that were present. They had already did something to upset the other black guy, and he had gotten up and left. And when it came to me, they passed out paperwork to everybody and just ignored me.
Do you recall the name of the other driver who was upset, African American driver, according to you?
No, I don't recall his
Recall.
name.
Thank you.
And so I later got up and left without going through the class. And I was so upset that I later called my dispatcher.
What exactly was it that upset you?
Well, the fact that I was just being ignored, and I had taken time out, which I could have been making miles driving to go to this class, and that they had just basically act like I wasn't there and refused to give me the paperwork that they were giving the other drivers. And I was I consider myself a civil rights advocate, and I've always stood up for blacks and against, and I've always felt that there was a tremendous amount of discrimination going on in the trucking industry in particular. Schneider had drivers that many of them had the Confederate flag on their trucks, and I resented that. And I'd make mention of it. And they had very few African American supervisor personnel, had very few black drivers, and they treated the African American drivers differently than they treated the other drivers, me included. At the time that I went to work for them, I've been driving a truck over 20 some years, owning my own business, and felt that that I should be treated as well as anyone else, and they were always indicating that they were satisfied with the job that I was performing, etc. But getting back to the...
Who would always tell you they were satisfied with the job you were performing? Can you recall any names?
Craig Keeston, my dispatcher. I was, because of what I felt was discrimination, I had given them a proposal that I felt that could improve the race relations between the drivers. And they said they would meet with me, talk to me about it.
Who was this that you gave your proposal to? And
I gave it to Craig. He passed it on to other supervisors, and they introduced me to a black gentleman named, I think, Tarik, T-A-R-I-K. I have his card in here. I'll give you all that information. And we were supposed to meet to sit down and discuss these items. That was before I was injured. At the time, on the 14th, I think it was approximately the 14th of October is when they pulled me into the office and told me that because of the...
October of what year?
October of 98.
98.
Because of the complaints I had filed.
And who is they again?
This is Craig and his boss.
You recall his boss's name?
No, I'm gonna give it. I have it. I'm gonna give it to you. And they told me that I was being terminated under company policy. They pointed out the policy that was in their manual that they give you for the driving manual. And I question how can I be in violation of that policy when I hadn't even filed a discrimination complaint officially at that time. I'd only made the complaint to the supervisor, and he said he was going to investigate it, and he never came back to me.
And the supervisor again is?
Craig is the one who I made the complaint to, and he said he was going to investigate it. Craig Keyston.
Thank you.
And I said, how can I be guilty of violating company policy when I'm filing a discrimination complaint and a complaint of being injured by a highway patrol? And they said, we're going to take it before the Fair and Equitable Board and give you the determination on how we're going to handle it. And then on the 2 days later, about the 16th of October, I was notified by Workman Comp that they wasn't going to pay the Workman Comp claim. And then I got a letter from the Fair and Equitable Board that I was being terminated because I had violated company policy. Workman Comp refused to give me any kind of treatment for the injury.
Okay, what injuries did you have? The 98 injury?
Yeah, I had a lot of pain in my right rib cage. I was seeing Kaiser because I had Kaiser insurance for the injury, and Kaiser wouldn't treat it as a workman comp injury. They wouldn't take any x-rays. They just said I had, and I was getting the same kind of symptoms that I'm having today, and that was pain in my right rib cage and muscle spasms coming from the pain.
Now, did you go see the doctor the first day, the date of the...
Yeah, the day of the injury, I went to the hospital with their recommendation. The doctor examined...
Whose recommendation?
Craig's recommendation, Craig Keyston, and the Highway Patrol told me that, he said, I know you're in pain. He said, and the Highway Patrol, his name was Sergeant White.
Sergeant White.
And he said, the girl